Nothing we have done and nothing we can say will ever return Sandra to her family and to the community. But last night we arrested Melissa Huckabee, a 28-year-old Sunday school teacher who lives at the Orchard Estates Mobile Home Park. And she has been booked into San Joaquin County Jail on suspicion of kidnapping and murder of Sandra Cantu. There's still a lot of work left to be done over the next several weeks to ensure that Ms. Huckabee pays for what she's done.
I'm not a mother, but Sandra was like a daughter to me. I can't imagine a mother doing this to a child.
How is her mom feeling right now?
She's doing all right.
8-year-old Sandra Cantu murdered. Her body found folded up in a big suitcase in a nearby irrigation pond. No, her killer is not some thug off the street. It is not a child sex predator. It is a 28-year-old Sunday school teacher at her church, a female Sunday school teacher. The suspected killer's daughter played with Sandra Cantu. They were playmates. Straight out to Sebastian Kuntz with KNEW Radio. Sebastian, bring us up to date.
Well, Nancy, the most updated information is really difficult for me to report. We understand the deputy DA in the case today told the Associated Press that, in fact, the charges could end up including rape with a foreign object, along with lewd and lascivious conduct with a child, and murder murder in the course of a kidnapping.
You're seeing video of the suspect being taken into custody. That is 28-year-old Melissa Huckabee. There you are seeing her in the back of an undercover vehicle. Sebastian Kuntz joining us from KNEW Radio. With me right now there near the Cantu home, Sergeant Tony Shinneman with the Tracy Police Department. Sergeant, thank you for being with us. Stunning development. A female sex assaulter and killer? What made police suspicious of her initially?
I'm sorry, it's very windy. I couldn't hear your question.
What made police suspicious of Huckabee to start with?
Information that we had received over the tip line and information that we had developed during the course of the investigation began our focus on her. Specifically, I can't discuss that though.
Out to Blake Taylor with KMJ 580 News Radio. Blake, isn't it true that Huckabee gave several inconsistent interviews to news media?
That's correct, Nancy. Thanks for having me back. Yeah, Ms. Huckabee on Friday, as a matter of fact, was called into the police department for a further interview with detectives on this case. They had their eye on her from the early stages of this investigation. That's for sure. One thing that did develop, though, in that ongoing investigation, and Tony Shinneman can allude to this later, is that she changed her demeanor drastically from one end of the spectrum to the other during that interview. And then those inconsistent statements concerning the suitcase is what led to the eventual arrest.
Back out to Sebastian Kuntz. Bring us up to date on that suitcase. Apparently the child found folded up inside a suitcase in this irrigation pond. Farm workers saw the suitcase and alerted police. Now, didn't she try to report or say she reported this suitcase stolen? You know, you and I talked at the beginning, and we said that night this suitcase may lead police to the killer.
Oh, absolutely. And it's in fact true that she claims to have reported the luggage missing on the day Sandra went missing, but the Tracy Police Department has said more than once that they had no reports of luggage that was stolen. And the suspect in the case, Huckabee, says something to the effect of, well, it required going down to the police department and filling out paperwork, and she didn't feel like she had the need to do that. But again, the shock at this not only being a female, but the mother of Sandra's playmate and a Sunday school teacher at the church, it's boggled a lot of minds over the past 3 days. here, Nancy.
Extremely rare to have a female sex predator and killer on a tiny child. We are taking your calls live out to Ann in Rhode Island. Hi, Ann.
Hi, Nancy. How are you?
I'm good, dear. It's just very
horrible.
disturbing.
It is.
Here's Sandra Cantu in the hours before her death, literally skipping with joy. What's your question, dear?
First of all, I want to comment. Your twins are breathtaking.
Thank you.
And you are doing such a good job of victims for these kids, because I have a 12-year-old and I go in his room every night like you do, and I check on him, and I just think of you, and I can't believe they've gotten as big as they've gotten. Anyway, my question is, did anybody in Miss Huckabee's neighborhood have any inclination that she had problems, that there was something going on?
Excellent question. Back to Blake Taylor with KMJ 580 in Rhode Island. That's a good question. What about it, Blake?
Yeah, it certainly is. Now, she's had some run-ins with the law in the last recent year or two. She's been picked up on a theft charge. In fact, she was set to undergo some psychological testing, we understand, in the near future as part of her probation for that. But nothing even remotely has connected her to a violent crime.
And tonight, of course, they claim she's on a suicide watch. You know, to Dr. Janet Taylor, why is it that perps always claim they're going to kill themselves and they just end up killing somebody else?
Well, you know, in this case, the fact that she's on suicide watch is consistent with the fact that she is allegedly a sex offender, because when women are sexual predators and do offend and molest children, but when they do, typically their profile is they are suicidal, not necessarily psychotic, but have a history of some psychiatric illness. But, you know...
Okay, you know what, Janet Taylor? Do not tune up tonight about a psychiatric illness, because Dr. Taylor, I know that's your expertise, not mine, but you have to know that what you're doing, you have to not understand that it's wrong at the time you do it. And the fact that she allegedly hid the child in a suitcase and threw it in the water and had the wherewithal to lie to police about the suitcase and trump up some theory that she had reported it stolen is complete BS.
Nancy,
she knew what she was doing.
I am not giving her an alibi. I'm just saying we have to look at what her psychological frame of mind is. Not an excuse, but understanding that clearly her frame of mind, not that she can't understand right from wrong, but that something probably happened to her.
Take a listen to this.
Are over here and over at church so much because Sandra was my daughter's best friend and came over here almost every day and played with my daughter. And another thing is the suitcase. That was my suitcase. It was stolen out from in front of my house. And I called when I noticed it was stolen. Called the police department, and they told me in order to make a report, you know, it was over $200, they had to go online and make a report. And I do not have access to the internet, so I was able to make a report at that time.
That's the Sunday school teacher, Melissa Huckabee, talking with local CBS 5 reporter KPIX.
We know the spirit of small business owners is alive and well, but we